I am 94 years old. I am sitting in a room that is not my home, wearing clothes that strangers picked out for me, eating food I did not choose, surrounded by people I do not know. My children put me here 6 months ago. 3 children I raised, sacrificed for, loved more than my own life. 3 adults who looked me in the eye and said, "Dad, it's for your own good." My name is William. Before I came to this place, before I became a problem to be solved, I need you to understand something. I need you to see what I see now, from this wheelchair, from this borrowed bed, from this life that is no longer mine. You think you have time to fix things with your parents. You think there will always be another conversation, another visit, another chance to make it right. But there is no later. And by the time you realize what you have thrown away, you will be sitting where I am sitting, wondering how love became so conditional. Let me tell you about my children. Sarah, my oldest, born in 1955 when I was 24 years old and thought I knew everything about being a father. Michael, born in 1957, my only son, the boy I taught to throw a baseball and change a tire. Jennifer, my baby, born in 1962, the little girl who used to fall asleep on my chest while I read her stories. I gave them everything, not just money, though I worked 2 jobs for 15 years to pay for their college educations, not just things, though I bought them cars and clothes and every toy they wanted. I gave them my time, my attention, my presence, my life. When Sarah was 7, she wanted to learn piano. I drove her to lessons every Tuesday and Thursday for 6 years. Sat in the waiting room reading magazines, listening to her stumble through scales and eventually play Chopin. I never missed a recital, not one. When Michael played Little League, I coached his team for 4 seasons. Weekends at the baseball field, evenings in the backyard throwing fastballs until it got too dark to see. I taught him to swing level, to keep his eye on the ball, to run through first base instead of to it. When Jennifer had nightmares, I was the one who sat by her bed until she fell back asleep. I was the one who checked the closet for monsters, who left the hallway light on, who promised her she was safe because Daddy was there. I was present, I was involved, I was the father I wished I had growing up. My own father worked 16 hours a day and came home too tired to talk. I swore I would be different. I swore I would know my children, really know them, and they would know me. And they did know me. For 30 years they knew me. We had Sunday dinners together. We took family vacations. We celebrated birthdays and graduations and weddings and the births of grandchildren. We built something that felt permanent, something that felt like love. But somewhere along the way, without me noticing, the relationship changed. I stopped being their father and became their responsibility. I stopped being the man who took care of them and became the old man they had to take care of. It started small. Sarah calling to check on me after her mother died in 2018. "Dad, are you eating? Dad, are you taking your pills? Dad, maybe you should not be driving at night anymore." Concern disguised as love, but really it was the beginning of control. Michael started coming over every weekend to check on the house. "Dad, this gutter is loose. Dad, you should not be on a ladder at your age. Dad, maybe we should hire someone to do the yard work." Helpful suggestions that were really commands wrapped in kindness. Jennifer started managing my appointments. "Dad, I made you a doctor's appointment. Dad, I set up someone to deliver your groceries. Dad, I think we should look into getting you some help around the house." She was organizing my life without asking if I wanted it organized. They meant well. I know they meant well. But meaning well and doing well are not the same thing. They were solving problems I did not know I had. They were fixing a life that I thought was working just fine. The first big fight was about driving. I had been driving for 76 years. 76 years without a serious accident. Yes, my reflexes were slower. Yes, my night vision was not what it used to be. But I was careful. I planned my trips. I avoided highways and rush-hour traffic, but Sarah found a small dent on my car, a tiny scrape from backing out of a parking space too close to another car. No damage to the other vehicle, no one hurt. Just a cosmetic scratch that could have happened to anyone at any age. She called it evidence. Evidence that I was no longer safe behind the wheel. She took my keys while I was sleeping and hid them. When I woke up and could not find them, she sat me down like I was a child and explained that driving was now too dangerous for me. I lost my independence in a single conversation, my ability to go where I wanted, when I wanted, without asking permission or arranging transportation. I went from being an adult to being dependent on others for every trip to the store, every doctor's appointment, every attempt to maintain some control over my own life. The second fight was about the house where I lived for 43 years, where I raised my children, where my wife died, where every room held memories I was not ready to abandon. Michael said it was too big for one person, too many stairs, too much maintenance, too expensive to heat in winter, all practical concerns that ignored the emotional reality of what that house meant to me. They wanted me to sell it and move into a smaller place, an apartment or a condo designed for seniors. Somewhere with no stairs, no yard to maintain, no memories to burden me with, somewhere practical and safe and completely disconnected from the life I had built. I refused. It was my house, my decision, my life. But my refusal became evidence of something else, evidence that I was being stubborn, unreasonable, that I was not thinking clearly about what was best for me. That phrase, what was best for me, became their justification for everything. They knew what was best for me better than I knew myself. My own opinions about my own life became symptoms of decline rather than expressions of autonomy. The third fight was about money. I had always managed my own finances, paid my own bills, balanced my own checkbook, made my own financial decisions. But Jennifer noticed I had paid the electric bill twice in 1 month. A simple mistake that anyone could make. I had forgotten I already sent the check. She convinced the others that this was a sign of dementia. One mistake became evidence of cognitive decline. One forgotten bill became proof that I could no longer be trusted with money. They went to court. My own children went to court to take control of my finances. They hired a lawyer and presented evidence of my decline, the forgotten bill, the car keys they had taken, the stubborn refusal to move out of my own house. The judge, a man younger than my youngest child, listened to their concerns and granted them power of attorney. Just like that, I lost control of my own money. Money I had earned, saved, invested for 60 years became theirs to manage on my behalf. They sold my house while I was visiting Jennifer for what I thought was a weekend trip. I came back to find a for sale sign in my front yard and my belongings packed into boxes. They had found me an apartment, a nice place, they said, perfect for someone my age. I lived in that apartment for 8 months. 8 months of trying to adjust to a smaller space, to different routines, to a life where every major decision was made without consulting me. 8 months of feeling like a guest in my own existence. Then I fell. Not a serious fall. I was reaching for something on a high shelf and lost my balance. Bruised my hip, scared myself more than anything. But when Sarah found me on the floor, she called an ambulance, made it sound like I was dying instead of embarrassed. The hospital kept me for observation. 2 days of tests that found nothing wrong except age and the minor bruise from the fall. But during those 2 days, my children had meetings, discussions about my future, conversations about what was best for me. When I was discharged, they did not take me home to my apartment. They took me here, to Sunset Manor Assisted Living, a place with nurses and activities and meal service and 24-hour supervision, a place where old people go to wait to die. They said it was temporary. Just until I got back on my feet, just until they could be sure I was safe living alone. But temporary became permanent, without anyone discussing it with me. My apartment lease was terminated, my remaining belongings were put in storage or given away. I became a resident, not a visitor, not a patient recovering from an injury. A resident of an institution designed to house people who could no longer house themselves. The hardest part is not the small indignities, the help with bathing, the pills organized in weekly containers, the meals served at specific times, whether I am hungry or not. The hardest part is the visits. My children visit every few weeks. They come with smiles and small gifts and updates about their lives. They ask how I am feeling, if the food is good, if I am making friends with the other residents. But they do not ask if I want to come home. They do not ask if I am happy here. They do not ask if I regret the choices they made for me. Those questions are no longer relevant. They solved the problem of me. They found a place where I am safe and cared for and no longer their daily responsibility. And I understand their relief. I see it in their faces when they visit. The relief of knowing I am somewhere safe, somewhere supervised, somewhere they do not have to worry about me falling or forgetting or making mistakes that prove I am declining. But what they do not see is what their relief cost me. It cost me my independence, my dignity, my right to make my own choices, even bad ones. It cost me my home, my privacy, my ability to wake up in my own bed and decide how to spend my day. Most of all, it cost me my relationship with them. They are no longer my children who love me. They are my caretakers who visit me. They are administrators of my life rather than participants in it. The other residents here have similar stories. Children who meant well but took control. Adult children who confused caring for with caring about. Who solved the inconvenience of aging parents by placing them somewhere safe and supervised and out of the way. Mrs. Patterson in the room next to mine has not spoken to her daughter in 2 years, not because they had a fight, but because there is nothing left to say. The daughter visits, asks the required questions, brings the expected gifts, and leaves, feeling good about being a dutiful child. Mr. Rodriguez down the hall cries every night, 91 years old, and he cries himself to sleep because his son promised this placement was temporary, and that was 3 years ago. His son has a new baby now, a new life to focus on. The old father is yesterday's problem, solved and forgotten. We are the parents who gave everything and received safety in return. We sacrificed our independence for their peace of mind. We traded our homes for their convenience. We exchanged our dignity for their relief. And the cruelest part is that they think they are being loving. They think they are taking care of us the way we took care of them when they were small and helpless. But there is a difference between caring for a child who is growing toward independence and caring for a parent by taking their independence away. Children need to be protected from bad choices while they learn to make good ones. Adults need the right to make bad choices because the alternative is not being adult anymore. I would rather fall in my own home than be safe in someone else's institution. I would rather make mistakes with my own money than have someone else make perfect decisions for me. I would rather risk the consequences of my own choices than live with the consequences of someone else's. But nobody asked me what I would rather do. Nobody asked if I wanted to trade my freedom for their peace of mind. They decided what was best for me and then made it happen regardless of what I wanted. Here is what I need you to understand, what I wish my children had understood before it was too late. Getting old is not a disease to be cured. It is not a problem to be solved. It is not a burden to be managed. Getting old is the final stage of a life that was lived. It comes with limitations, yes. It comes with risks and challenges and the need for some accommodations. but it does not come with the automatic forfeit of the right to choose how to live. Your parents are not children. They are adults who have been making decisions for themselves longer than you have been alive. They may make different choices than you would make. They may accept risks you would not accept. They may value things you do not value. That does not mean they are incompetent. That means they are different people with different priorities, living in different circumstances than you are. Before you take their keys, ask yourself if they are truly unsafe or if you are uncomfortable with the level of risk they are willing to accept. Before you take control of their money, ask yourself if they are truly incompetent or if they are making choices you would not make. Before you move them out of their homes, ask yourself if they are truly unable to live there or if it would be easier for you if they lived somewhere else. There is a difference between helping someone and controlling them. There is a difference between caring about someone and managing them. There is a difference between keeping someone safe and keeping someone alive without letting them live. I am 94 years old. I am safe. I am fed. I am supervised. I am medicated. I am housed. But I am not home. I am not free. I am not living a life I chose. My children saved me from the risks of independence and gave me the certainty of dependence. They protected me from the possibility of harm and guaranteed me the reality of loneliness. They meant well. They thought they were showing love. But love that requires the surrender of dignity is not love. It is control disguised as caring. If you love your parents, love them enough to let them make their own choices, even choices that worry you. Love them enough to support their decisions rather than replace them with your decisions. Love them enough to let them live in their own homes until they choose to leave, not until you choose for them to leave. Love them enough to let them drive until they decide to stop, not until you decide they should stop. Love them enough to let them be adults until the day they die, not children the day you decide they are too old to take care of themselves. Because the alternative is this: a room that is not home, a life that is not chosen, a relationship that is not love but management, a safety that costs everything worth being safe for. I am tired now, tired of being safe, tired of being managed, tired of living someone else's version of what is best for me. Do not let your love for your parents become their prison. Do not let your need for them to be safe become their loss of everything that made their life worth living. There are worse things than dying in your own home. Living in someone else's institution is one of them.